he knew something. What he knew is a question, but the fact that he knew is all but guaranteed. You must follow the law. The law says...
Glorious. Is it a lawsuit? Probably. Why not?
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up. It's the Law with attorney Larry Forman. Folks, sorry I've been MIA for a few days. My editor, shout out to you, my friend, has decided to take a short vacation as his girlfriend was visiting him from another country. So of course I'm going to give him the luxury of taking a break. Now folks, even though the Adelson trial is over, it's been over for a couple of weeks, she has been convicted. However, there is something that I don't think anybody else has done, and I'm going to do this on my channel. I'm going to dissect Rob Adelson's testimony, as I've already promised you, and then we're going to dissect the closings. But we're going to do something very special and very unique. A lot of you have indicated that you want culpability on behalf of Wendy and Harvey. Wendy, obviously, Donna's daughter, the attorney. She was married to Dan Markel. They were divorced. And she claims that she had no part in it. I don't buy it for a second. Secondly, they kept zooming in, and we'll probably see it in this video and other videos, onto a man sitting on a bench in the front row in the courtroom. That's Harvey. That is Donna's husband. Again, another individual that all the fingers are pointing at, that he also had culpability. Remember the emails between Wendy and her parents, right? The prosecutor asked, was the email from your mom or your dad? And she always was kind of like wishy-washy in her testimony. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch. I have several videos on Wendy's culpability and Wendy's testimony on my channel. So it's bizarre how these two people had absolutely no idea that any of this was going on, because it's not possible. Because it's absolutely not possible, folks. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch Rob Adelson's testimony through the lens of Harvey and Wendy's culpability. And then we're going to go to the closing arguments and we're going to dissect the same. So you're going to get my natural raw reactions. I'm going to try and keep it light and entertaining as I possibly can to help you guys get through the testimony. But most importantly, I want you guys to keep in the back of your mind, Wendy and Harvey are probably guilty. There is no way that they just happen to be passengers in this death car that was driving towards Dan Markel in 2014. It's just not possible. People want justice, and justice has not fully been done yet. The killers are behind bars. Katie McBenowa is behind bars. Charlie Adelson is behind bars. Now Donna Adelson is behind bars. That's 5, right? Killers, I guess, are 2. 5 down, 2 more to go. We got Wendy and Harvey on the chopping block. So, with that in mind, let's watch Rob's testimony from the Donna Adelson jury trial.
So before you testify this afternoon, I just wanted to make sure the court's prior ruling on this matter you understood and you were clear on. When you're testifying, you are not to testify about any opinions that you have concerning whether your family members or your mother may have committed a crime. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Does the defense or state wish for there to be any further instruction from the court that does not otherwise cover the substance of the ruling?
No, sir. No, sir.
Please bring the jurors. Yep. Mr. Adelson remains standing. Everyone else can be seated. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
I swear.
You may take your seat. Please speak loudly and clearly. You can adjust the microphone as need be. Ms. Dugan, you may examine.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name and spell your name for our court reporter, please?
Sure. Robert Todd Adelson, Adelson.
Thank you. And what state do you currently live in?
New York.
And how long have you lived in New York?
13 years.
Okay, so since maybe 2012?
Yes.
All right. What do you do for a living in New York?
I'm an ENT.
Okay, so ear, nose, and throat doctor?
Yes.
And how long have you worked as an ENT?
For 20 years.
How do you know the defendant in this case, Donna Adelson?
She's my mother.
And Harvey Adelson's your dad?
Yes.
Wendy and Charlie Adelson are your siblings?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
In Coral Springs, Florida.
Is that a bit north of Miami?
Yep.
About how long of a drive?
About an hour north of Miami.
Okay. When y'all were growing up, did you all...
Just out of curiosity, I wonder why he moved so far. He moved as far north as he possibly could, almost, without going into like Maine or whatever, which as a doctor, I imagine you probably want to be in a populated area so you can grow your own practice or maybe work in a hospital. I guess maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. But I think it's also a little bit telling. I'm going to predict here just a little bit. It seems to me like he wanted to get away from his mother. He wanted to get away as far as possible from his mother as he could. Just a prediction. Let's find out.
All the five of you live in the same house as a family?
Yes.
And who's the oldest child?
I am.
Okay.
He's the oldest.
Who's the middle child?
Charlie.
How many years between you and Charlie?
3 years between Charlie and I.
And then who's the youngest then is Wendy?
Yes.
And how many years between Charlie and Wendy?
3 years.
Okay. When you were 18, did you move out of the Coral Springs house?
Yes, when I went to college.
Okay. And did you go to college at University of Florida?
I went to Tulane.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Did you live in Gainesville at some point?
I did, yes.
Okay, thank you. So after you went to college at Tulane and then went on to med school, went on to residency, throughout those years, did you continue to talk to your parents and your siblings on a regular basis?
Yes.
And would you see them a couple of times a year?
Yes.
When you were in school, would you go home for the summer?
Yes.
Based on your personal observations throughout your life, of your parents and of your siblings, who is the leader in the family? Who tends to run the show?
I think my mom.
Okay, so Donna Adelson?
Yes.
There it is.
Would you describe Donna Adelson's personality as being more controlling or more laid back?
I think more on the controlling side.
What about, is she...
Notice how his voice cracks because he knows his mother is sitting right there and he has to say all these things. And again, I'm going to bring up Harvey, the unspoken character. You really think Donna is just acting out of her own accord? You don't think she's going to bed every night saying, dear hubby, what do you think about XYZ? And he just kind of approves or denies, or they talk things out. You really think Donna was just acting in a complete bubble? That's not possible. It is completely impossible.
Kind of a more assertive person or a more passive person?
A more assertive.
What about your dad, Harvey Adelson? What's his personality like?
I think he's more passive, more go with the flow.
Okay. So they're kind of opposites in that way a bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so if he's more passive, Harvey Adelson is more passive, go with the flow type of character, so he may have been complicit. Donna informed him of all the stuff that she plans on doing, and he said, yes, honey, go ahead. I will follow you to the ends of the earth because I love you, and I trust you, and you are the love of my life, and till death does us part, or prison time, I suppose, in this regard. So, I am having great trouble excusing Harvey as he's not a main actor, don't get me wrong. He's not a main actor by any stretch of the imagination because I think evidence would have shown it by now. Unless he's very, very good at cleaning up his tracks, I don't know how to describe it. Because Donna was the one who was spearheading the whole operation, as everybody has testified so far. Everybody's throwing everything on Donna. And again, I don't buy it. I think everybody in this family has their hands dirty. They're just now Charlie's already in jail. Katie's in jail. They're in jail. Now Donna is in jail. They didn't know this at the time of this recording. Spoiler alert. And now it's time to go after Wendy and Harvey. That is inevitable. Inevitable, folks. And if it doesn't happen, that means the prosecution is satiated and satisfied.
When you and your siblings were growing up, was Donna Adelson a very involved parent?
Yes.
And when I say involved, as far as with your life and with your friends and with school and with that type of thing?
Absolutely.
Did she have certain fixed ideas throughout your life
That's Harvey.
of certain things she wanted to happen in you and your siblings' life?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it acceptable if you decided to not to not do those certain certain things that she was fixated she wanted you to do? Was that acceptable to her or no?
No, I think she had certain sort of rigid, fixed ideas or impressions for what she wanted for us. And if you went along with that, things were fine. If you didn't, things were not fine.
Did she have strong opinions about who you all married and what you all did for a living and those types of things?
Yes.
And you're obviously a doctor. Was that an acceptable profession to her?
Yeah, that was okay.
Okay. And was that one of the reasons you became a doctor?
Yes.
Okay. How involved was Donna in yours, Charlie, and Wendy Adelson's life after you grew up, became adults, and had kids of your own?
I think still involved.
Was she more involved with your life, Charlie's life, or Wendy's life, would you say?
Probably more involved with Wendy and probably to a lesser degree with Charlie.
Okay. And then would you be she's the least involved with your life out of the three?
Yeah, probably because I was older, but sure, I agree.
Okay, so you're the oldest child. You're out of the house before the other two?
Yep.
Okay, and then you also lived other places after you went to college throughout the rest of your life?
Yes.
Now, was this like a healthy level of involvement that she had with the three of yours lives, or was it more of like a micromanaging as you saw it?
I think it was certainly between over-involved and controlling. It probably lended itself more toward controlling, but there's in various realms, more or less. But I think certainly that was a tension.
Okay, so a little more on the controlling side.
Yes.
And does that include your personal lives as far as your relationships and in your professions, your jobs?
Yes.
Was it Charlie who always needed more attention than the other two children?
I think so, yes.
When did Wendy's life start becoming one that she needed to pay or give more attention to?
I think when she had some troubles in her marriage, I wasn't aware there were any troubles in her marriage until Wendy left. But I think around that time when she had two young children, I think that was when she became more involved. And I was, at that point living, pretty good distance away.
Okay. Were you living in Philadelphia at the time?
Yeah, but first in Philly and then in New York, where we live now.
Okay. And so Charlie always got a lot of attention, and then Donna also started giving her attention also to Wendy's life once Wendy starts going through the separation or divorce.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And I'm sure Rob was ecstatic to not receive any more attention from his mother. I mean, you can tell that this man has had his fair share of Donna in his life, and he was very happy to have her off his back. That much is obvious. And probably Harvey, too.
From your interactions with Donna Adelson through your whole life growing up and even as an adult, would you describe her as someone who's mentally sharp, thinking about things from all angles, or is she someone who's a little more gullible? Yes, sir.
It's an interesting question.
Objection is sustained. You may continue with your examination.
Okay. Because it goes into, I think they sustained it, the judge sustained that objection because it calls for speculation. It goes to the character of Donna's day-to-day, and Rob can't get inside her head, you see. In order to articulate an answer to that question, it has to be from something, because he's testifying as a layperson. It can only come from his personal impressions, what he sees, what he hears, what he knows. He can't testify as to her inner workings of her mind, and that's why the objection was sustained, probably.
And Donna Adelson dependent on each other or pretty independent from each other?
I would say Charlie was probably somewhat dependent on my mom to help him out with organizing stuff, his dental practice. I think he probably relied on her a lot. Okay.
You mentioned the dental practice. When you were growing up, who owned the dental practice?
My dad.
Okay. And throughout your life, was Donna Adelson in charge of the money at Adelson Institute?
I wouldn't know the inside workings of it, but I always remember my mom signing the checks and writing the checkbook at the table, when I was back in middle school or high school. So.
Okay. So even back then, she would do some bookkeeping or payroll type things at home.
That's my memory of it.
Okay. And then, did the dental practice, you said it obviously started out at Harvey's. Do you remember a time when Charlie Adelson took over?
Yeah, I remember my dad making a joke about him having a very understanding boss because Charlie was now his boss. So,
Do not testify to what others have stated out of court. You may testify as to your knowledge, but not what someone else specifically said. The objection is sustained.
Wait a minute.
Continue.
Has he been watching testimony? How does he know that? Because there's definitely been a sequestration order. They cannot listen to each other's testimony before they testify. So that's a little fishy.
I understand you were telling us how you remember that, but can you just tell us around what year do you remember
Oh,
that
maybe
happening?
he was watching the testimony of another trial? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. But he cannot be watching this trial before he testifies. So he's probably clean there.
around 2012, Charlie purchased the practice.
Okay, and then was there a time that you remember Charlie somehow selling it back to Harvey? Harvey Adelson is then becoming the head of the practice again.
I permit you to answer the question if you have knowledge of this matter.
My memory of that was sometime in like fall to winter of 2015 to 16, somewhere right around there. That's my memory.
Okay, so fall to winter of 2015.
Turning into
Turning into
2016.
2016.
That's my memory.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Donna Adelson doing payroll at Adelson Institute throughout your life. If someone were to ask Donna Adelson, or if someone asked Donna Adelson to do something, is she the type of person that just snaps to it, or does she have some questions first?
This is not going to motion. You may answer the question.
No, I don't think she would just snap to and do what someone told her to.
Okay. Is she the type of person who's going to have some questions if you ask her to do
Yes,
something?
I think she would definitely have some questions.
Okay. How did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel when he and Wendy first got together and were headed towards marriage?
He was very positive about him.
Okay, so he was somebody she approved of.
Yes.
All right, and how did that change as Wendy and Danny's relationship soured? They ended up moving towards divorce.
So I really only heard anything bad about Danny after Wendy moved out. I didn't hear anything bad about him prior to that date.
Okay, so just kind of went from everything's fine to then hearing bad things about him.
Yes.
And when you say hearing bad things about him, like from her? From Donna Adelson, I'm
yes.
sorry? Okay. And how did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel in 2014?
I mean, she hated him.
Would this come from, your knowledge of that come from things that she would say to you?
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Did you observe that Wendy played a bit of a damsel in distress, in your opinion, in their divorce?
Yes, I think that's a good way to describe it.
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy Adelson and Dan Markel's divorce?
I apologize. Did Donna Adelson? I apologize. Can I hear the question again?
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy and Dan Markel's divorce?
Some. I mean, the phrase that sticks in my head is that Danny was depoting Wendy to death. I wasn't involved with, all the various motions. I remember that phrase. I remember there being a lot of, court motions back and forth. But I remember that phrase. I remember, some complaints about like very long either mediation or depositions that Wendy had to endure.
Okay, so this is Donna saying Wendy's having to go through these things.
Yes.
Okay, and just telling you about it.
Yes.
How did Donna tell you that, or did she tell you that how Wendy was planning to leave Dan Markel and give him the news that she was leaving the marriage?
I think you're going to need to rephrase this in such a way the witness can answer, Ms. Dugan.
How did Donna Adelson describe to you how Wendy Adelson left the marriage?
Object to hearsay.
Ms. Dugan, please approach.
Okay.
There's a better way to ask that question.
You may continue with your examination.
What did Donna Adelson tell you about the plan for Wendy Adelson to leave the marriage?
Sure. When she told me that that she had been in Tallahassee for several months.
This is Donna Adelson, had
Yes.
been?
That she had been in Tallahassee for several months, renting a new place for Wendy, arranging for movers, moving money around, and getting things set up. I only knew this after Wendy had moved out, but she was relating to me what had occurred over the summer. And so I heard this all at once, but probably 5-6 days after Wendy had moved out, and then told me that somewhat gleefully or pleased that they timed the phone call to Danny right before he was supposed to give a speech at the meeting he was at.
Okay. So a couple questions about that. You said Donna said that she had been up here in Tallahassee moving the money around and getting things ready for Wendy. Do you mean for when Wendy moved out and needed a place of her own?
Yes.
Okay. And what did Donna tell you that she...
Notice how the prosecutor was very careful to make sure that you're not talking about like taking care of Dan Markel. That's not the purpose of the moving the money around and it's whatever. That this is just logistics. Because even the prosecution thinks, I don't think Rob has... Maybe any, I don't know. At this point, I really don't know. But Rob definitely has the cleanest hands in the Adelson family. Everyone else is complicit. Donna, Charlie, Wendy, Harvey, they're all complicit. They were all working together. They're all working in concert. They're all in cahoots with one another. Rob was just practicing medicine up in New York. If my suspicion is correct, and let me know in the comments below if you think differently. And while you're scrolling down, don't forget to like this video, comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you get more videos like this, and especially because we got a bunch of videos coming up. It's possible that Rob tried to distance himself so much from his mother that he decided, I want nothing to do with this. I'm going to keep... My mother is dangerous. I don't want anything to do with it. I want to keep my distance from her. Not just anything to do with, like, this plan. He had no idea about this plan or any other plan or anything else. All he heard was on the grapevine, like, oh, we love Dan. Dan is awesome. And, screw Dan. Dan sucks. He's burying her in depositions or whatever, It's hard. It's hard to determine just from this, but... The fact that even the prosecutor made sure to kind of protect Rob, I don't know. Rob seems like a decent guy, but I don't know. I just don't trust this family. When you don't trust the entire family, it's hard. It's hard to sift through who's telling the truth and who's manipulating because everyone is trying to cover their own Everyone's trying to cover their butts. Unbelievable. Very hard.
Did to try to, hide the fact that they were renting a place for Wendy.
I remember her saying she had used her maiden name so there wouldn't be an Adelson up here renting, or hiring movers or such.
Just so word of mouth wouldn't get around that Wendy Adelson was renting an apartment, something like that.
Sure.
Okay. So they used Donna's maiden name.
Yes.
Donna did. And then you said that their plan was for Wendy to call Dan Markel as he was getting on stage, or right before he got on stage, to give a speech at a conference?
That's what I was told.
Okay. And what was Donna's demeanor when she was describing this plan to you about how she was able to set up this place for Wendy to live in, everything was ready for her, and then this is how she gave Dan the news?
I think she sounded...
Donna's the one that gave the news? If not, then we
I believe the question was, what was her demeanor? You may
Yes, sir.
answer the question.
Yeah, because observation.
she sounded pleased to me.
Did you ever see Donna Adelson doing anything to help Wendy Adelson with the divorce?
And by the way, another fact, folks, interestingly, it seems to me like one of the reasons the jury convicted Donna, if you really think about it, when your own children, your own grown, adult, professional children are getting up on the witness stand to testify against you, I mean, that says something. Regardless of Wendy's culpability, regardless of if Rob had any involvement in this, when your own kids get up there and just willingly testify against you, there's just something, as a juror, if I were sitting on this jury, and let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with this, as a juror listening to your own kids, her own kids, her own flesh and blood, she gave birth to, raised, educated, gave them a profession. Wendy's a lawyer, Rob's a doctor, Charlie's a dentist. Obviously, he didn't testify in this trial because he's rotting away in prison. When this happens, folks, people get this sort of uneasy, queasy feeling in their stomachs as jurors. And I am getting that feeling right now, too, as I'm listening to him. If I were Donna, it would be amplified, 10x. Just listening to him speak is so damning. His calm demeanor, just laying out the facts, just saying everything, how he knows it, how he believes the situation to be. There's just something so gross that I, as a juror, go, what son would testify against an innocent mother? It's almost like guilt by association. You can't help it. You can't stop it. When your own flesh and blood testifies against you, because they're testifying for the prosecution, the defense did not call them. And I can't wait for cross-examination because I anticipate it's going to be an absolute nothing burger. Like, literally, this is the show. Normally, the defense is the part you're like, I can't wait to get to. The defense is what I am like, oh, it's going to be fun. It's just not going to be, like, useful for Donna and her defense. You know what I mean? It's going to be entertaining, by God. Oh, I can't wait for that part. But it's not going to be helpful to Donna's case, is what I'm trying to say. So let's keep going. And we're going to do his full testimony in this video, by the way.
I think she was, answering a lot of emails and looking over, emails that went back and forth, looking over motions and such.
Did you personally see that when she was visiting you? Did you see Donna Adelson doing those things?
Yes.
Okay. Was there an occasion when you all were in the hospital and Donna came to visit and was doing those things in the hospital?
I think it was at our home at the time, right before he went to the hospital. But yes, that's where we saw the email.
Okay. And while she was at your house during that time, was that when you were living in Philadelphia?
That was in Albany.
Albany, okay. Did she want the Wi-Fi at that time so that she could get on the internet and work on these filings?
Yeah, she said she had things to do to help out with the divorce.
What date would that have been? Do you remember?
October of 12.
Did Donna Adelson tell you that Wendy Adelson was trying to get permission to relocate to Miami?
Yes.
And did Donna Adelson tell you about the $1 million bribe she wanted to offer Dan Markel?
Yes.
I think because Rob was going to help contribute some of the money, if I remember correctly.
During the year or two after Wendy Adelson left Dan Markel, how much time was Donna Adelson spending in Tallahassee?
You have personal knowledge of her being there.
You may answer as to your personal knowledge on the subject matter.
I can rephrase, Judge. Did Donna Adelson tell you information about how much time she was having to spend in Tallahassee?
She said that Wendy needed a lot of help because now she has 2 boys on her own, and so she was up there a lot. And I think yes.
Okay. Who cared more about Wendy Adelson's divorce from your conversations? Was it Donna or Charlie?
Donna.
What types of things does Charlie care about? What are kinds of things is he really into?
I mean, like go-karts, jet skis, going out, boats, not Wendy's divorce.
Okay. And is Donna Adelson very into her kids and grandkids and their success?
Yes.
Do you think Wendy's divorce or her moving, do you think Wendy and her boys moving to Miami was particularly important to Charlie Adelson from your observations?
I don't think so.
During the divorce, from your conversations with Donna, was she fixated on Wendy taking this job with a guy named Gary Cohen in Miami?
Yes, that was a common discussion point.
Okay. Did she seem like it was just something that she kind of thought would be a good idea or something that she seemed to have a real obsession with?
It came up a lot in my discussions with her about this job with Gary, where she'd be making $1 million a year and to be a partner. And it was something that was brought up a lot, that she'd be able to take care of her kids in a way that she couldn't up in Tallahassee. And then it was, it was probably the one thing that she mentioned to me, the only time I heard any anger after the murder had occurred, was that I asked, is Wendy going to go work for Gary now? And she told me that.
Did the job end up not working out?
As far as I know, it didn't.
Okay, and that you.
Well, why do you think? Do you really want to be associated with a person whose husband has just been murdered? Because it doesn't take a genius to go, I want nothing to do with this person.
Heard some anger from Donna when that happened.
She said that his partners wouldn't let them hire her until they.
Okay.
Sorry.
But there was some anger there because the job didn't end up working out.
Yes.
They couldn't hire Wendy or didn't want to hire Wendy after all.
That's what I was told.
Okay, thank you. Now, during the summer of 2014, did Wendy Adelson, I'm going to move on to 2014 now, did Wendy Adelson send you a text where she referenced having a boyfriend?
Yes.
And was this before Dan Markel's murder?
Yes.
Why was that memorable to you?
It was just unusual. Wendy, never was someone who would, share her, romantic life or boyfriends or, tell me or, text me about anyone she was dating. So it just stood out as, unique or different.
Okay. What did she, was there something in particular that she said that struck you? Okay. I guess, was it your impression that your parents knew about this boyfriend at the time or no?
No, the text said, don't tell the parents.
Well,
Members of the jury, you are to disregard the last response of the witness.
may I approach, Judge?
You may.
There's Harvey again.
You may continue your examination, Ms. Dugan.
Okay, so I was asking you about this text that you received from Wendy Adelson. Can you tell me about this text?
Sure. She texted me that she was going to Gainesville for the weekend, and this was 2014. So I last lived in Gainesville about 3 years prior to that. I mentioned that she wanted that. I mentioned the name of Jeff. I asked who was Jeff. The response was my boyfriend. I responded I didn't know, and she said you wouldn't. I didn't hear it from the parents. She says they don't know. And so it just struck me and then she sent me some pictures of Jeff with her and the boys. It struck me as unique because she'd never shared the name or photograph of a boyfriend before.
Okay, so
Members of the jury, as to the last question and response, you are not to consider the hearsay statement for the truth of the matter asserted. You may continue.
They don't understand what that means, Judge.
So it was unusual for her to talk to you about boyfriends at all.
Yes.
But you also felt it was unusual that she's telling you about this boyfriend when even your parents don't know about him yet.
Right.
For the record, folks, hearsay is one of those rules that is so complicated. It's I heard, somebody else say this, and now I'm saying it. And hearsay is not permitted, subject to certain exceptions. There's like 16 of them. We're not going to go over it. But it's funny that the judge instructed them, like, you are not to consider this except for the truth of the matter asserted, not for the truth of the matter asserted, except for, like, basically take it at face value. Lawyers don't understand hearsay rules properly. We have trouble with it, myself included. Hearsay is not an easy rule of law to digest and understand. The basics, of course, everybody gets, but when it gets nuanced, when it gets a little more complicated, sometimes, business records exception, things like that, sure, that's easy. But sometimes it gets a little hairy, especially when you get like hearsay within hearsay. Like, I heard him tell her, tell me, like it just gets so crazy and so hairy. But to tell the jury, to instruct the jury like that, to me as a lawyer is just hilarious, because I know the jury is sitting there going, okay, and they're like, I don't understand what he just said. I guarantee it.
And she was closer to her parents at the time than you?
Correct.
Okay, what date was that text message sent?
The very end of June, like 26 or 28 of 14, that last weekend.
Okay, so it was prior to 4th of July weekend?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember where in those photographs Wendy is with her sons and Jeff?
Like Wakulla Springs, something like that.
Okay.
And they're in front of a board that said that.
And did you let her know you wouldn't mention him to her parents or to your parents?
Yes.
Did that strike you as so unusual that after Dan Markel was murdered, you felt, I guess, compelled to tell police, like, hey, I heard she has this boyfriend she hasn't told anybody about named Jeff?
Yes, I did. The FBI came to my house and I spoke to them once, and either it didn't come up or, it's a bit nerve-wracking talking to the FBI, and that they didn't ask any questions about that. And then, I guess over the ensuing week, I'd heard about like this Prius and this unsolved murder. And I remembered, it struck me as odd that I was sent these photographs of a boyfriend and not to tell the parents about him. And so that's when I wanted to have a clean conscience. So I reached out to the FBI and I said, I don't know if this matters, but I figured I would, tell you about this. And they came back for a second interview and looked at the pictures.
Okay. When is your father, Harvey Adelson's birthday?
July 5.
Okay, so on July 5th of 2014, how old would he have turned that year?
70.
Okay, and this is about 2 to 3 weeks before Dan Markel was killed?
Yes.
Did your family do anything to celebrate his birthday that year?
Yes, we had a party at their condo.
Okay, was there a gift from the family or from any of you to him?
No. I remember an email, and my dad is not someone who wants gifts or a big deal made about him, and so the email was something like, your dad doesn't want gifts, he just wants all of his kids to be with him on his birthday.
Harvey just wanted all of his kids to be with him on his birthday. That's the gift, because he knows something is about to go down, i.e. the murder of Dan Markel, which failed the previous month. Remember, there was an attempt, they stalked Dan, the killers stalked Dan to his house or his work or whatever. They tried to orchestrate and do it, but they failed in June, and so they had to come back in July 18th, 2014, and that's when they succeeded. If you want a consciousness of guilt argument, there it is, folks. Harvey Adelson was clearly aware and had knowledge that things are put in motion to take out Dan Markel, and his head could go on the chopping block. Now, he tries to be kind of in the background, but it's kind of a bit of a giveaway. It's a bit of a giveaway, if you really think about it, that if he wanted all his kids present, maybe that was like his thought in his mind. This could be our last hurrah before some of us, all of us, whatever, go to prison. Just in case, as an insurance policy, I want to see all my children before this all goes down. And he's also 70 years old. You can also make the flip argument. You can make the devil's advocate. I will be devil's advocate here. Say, no, absolutely not. He had no idea. He just wanted to see all of his kids because he was already in his 70s, just entered his 70s. Now he's in his 80s. He didn't know he was going to live to be 81, 82, however old he is now. He probably thought he could go tomorrow. I mean, at that age, it's anything is possible. You could live to be 90 or you don't, So it could cut both ways. But there is, if I'm a prosecutor, there is the possibility interweaving into this whole thing the consciousness of guilt argument that he wanted his kids at his birthday party because he knew that things are about to go down and they may not be pretty and we may never be together again, ever. This may be my last birthday to celebrate with everybody. That's why I wanted everybody there as Harvey Adelson. Think about that.
And was that from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
So she's basically letting you know you and your kids coming is going to be his gift.
Correct.
And everybody, all the kids and grandkids being
Correct.
there. Okay. Did the family ever discuss going on a cruise?
No, not with me.
When a birthday gift is given for somebody in the family, does Donna Adelson typically say, we're going to get him this, everybody owes this much, everybody's going to pay a third, or whatever it is?
Yeah, if there was a big gift we're getting, or they said, we're getting this for someone, and you can be part of it, that was not uncommon.
Okay, so tell us about the party. You said it was at the Continuum?
Yes, at their apartment.
Okay, so is that like a condo building in Miami?
Yeah, on Miami Beach.
Okay, on Miami Beach, like South Beach?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it a secure building?
It's very secure. It was, we were staying at a hotel down the street, and there was armed guards, and it was apparently there's a lot of celebrities that live there. It was a very high, very secure building.
Okay. And these celebrities that lived there, were they people that you knew of? I mean, you knew who they were?
Sure, yeah, A-Rod.
Did these people have kind of guards of their own too in the building?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So the guards that you saw were the guards in the front?
Yes.
All right. Had your parents, how recently had they moved to the Continuum?
I got the idea, it was certainly less than a year. Like, I don't remember exactly, but seemed like they said they were going to try living down in South Beach to see if they liked it for their retirement. And so it had to be sometime, before, because they were pretty well moved in there. But I don't remember the exact time, but if I'm guessing, like maybe 6 months before or something like that.
Okay, so by the weekend of the party, July 5th, are they like fully moved into their condo there?
Yes.
Okay, and are they living there full time, from what you know?
It seemed like that, but I couldn't. I know they still own the house in Coral Springs, so I don't know if they were just there on the weekends, but I couldn't say definitively, but it looked like they were living there fully.
Okay. Was his party on his actual birthday or another day of the week?
No, on his actual birthday.
All right. Was your brother Charlie there that weekend?
Yes.
Wendy and her sons, were they there?
Yes.
Was the party catered?
Yeah, there was, yes.
What type of food did you have?
There were like past hors d'oeuvres, and then there was a paella chef on the balcony.
Okay. Was the party a surprise for Harvey?
No.
So you were never told, don't tell him about it, it's a surprise,
No.
Anything like that? Don't tell him. Were you not supposed to tell him anything about the party that was a surprise?
No, there was nothing about a surprise birthday.
Was there ever a time in the weeks leading up to the party that you heard that the party may be canceled for any reason?
No, never.
All right, so how did you first hear about Dan Markel's murder?
I heard the day after the shooting occurred, so that would be Saturday, July 19. I was at a meeting in Chicago, and I think I got a phone call first, and that I was in a meeting, and so I just said, can I call you later? And then I got a text message shortly thereafter, like right before 10 in the morning, that said, like, tragedy here, please call.
And are these from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Okay. So were you able to call her that morning from the conference in Chicago?
Yeah, so I walked out and went to the hotel lobby and just hit call.
Okay, and tell us about that conversation with her.
So it's one of those moments that you'll just remember forever. So I remember being in the lobby of the Westin, and I assumed something terrible had happened, and but I wasn't ready for it. She said, so we just want to let you know that Danny's been shot, and they took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it. And it didn't make any sense. And I probably asked like a few medical questions, and they said they're driving up to go help Wendy, and we'll talk to you later. We can't talk now.
Okay. Was she crying in that conversation?
Not in the conversation.
Sir?
No, she was not.
Okay.
It was very matter of fact.
Did she ever give you any further detail that weekend about how he'd been shot, or other than just Danny was shot and he didn't make it?
I think it was the next day. So the only really other time that I spoke with him that weekend, I was in the airport going home, like Sunday afternoon. So it was definitely the next day, and it was the first time I could actually have any kind of conversation. And one of the things that she told me is it bothered me, but I didn't have any other details about. But she said that someone went to the front door and said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and then shot him. And then I said, "Well, how could you know that? Who's telling you that?" And she said, "Well, that's just what they're telling us." And
Okay. So she said someone told her that someone knocked on Danny's door, said, "Are you Dan Markel?" He said yes, and the shooter shot him.
That's the story I heard. And later we found out that wasn't what happened. But that story bothered me a lot, because there's only one way you could hear that story.
Was she crying when she told you that information?
No.
You mentioned earlier that law enforcement contacted you after Dan Markel's murder. Did they contact you to try to see if you knew any information?
Yeah, they came to our house. I was already at work, and so they talked to my wife. It had to be a Wednesday or Thursday, so I was already at work.
And is this your house in New York?
Yes.
Okay. And did you end up talking to law enforcement and letting them, answering their questions, letting them know what you knew?
Yeah, they came to my office the next day, and we with 2 agents, and we had we had an interview.
Okay. After that conversation with, you said it was the FBI earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay. After that conversation with the FBI, did Donna Adelson ever say anything to you about having talked to law enforcement or the FBI?
It was either that afternoon or the next day, but and she called me and said, just want to let you know, if the police come around, don't talk to them.
Okay, so she told you not to talk to law enforcement.
Correct.
Did you let her know that you already had talked to law enforcement?
Yeah, I said I already did.
What did she say to that?
She said, "Oh, well, you don't know anything anyway."
You don't know anything anyway?
Correct.
Was that an unusual statement coming from your mother?
Yeah, it just, everything that week was unusual, but I clearly didn't know anything, but I wasn't going to not talk to the FBI if they show up at my house.
How did you respond? Let me ask you this. After the murder of Dan Markel, did Donna Adelson seem curious about who killed Dan Markel?
No.
Was there a complete lack of curiosity?
Yeah, nobody seemed curious.
Did you actually ever ask her, like after the murder, like, hey, like, what do you think happened? What do you?
Yeah, and the conversations were kind of rerouted, or that was certainly discouraged, and it was probably like maybe sometime like mid-August, when I finally had a chance to ask and say, what is going on? This was not a small event. This was getting a lot of notoriety. And I said,
a man has been
what do you
killed.
guys think happened? And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
Wow. Right there, folks. If there was a statement that buries you, is when your son tells the jury in your murder trial, complicity to murder trial, that, oh, yeah, I don't care who killed him, not my problem. No sympathy, no empathy, no interest in discovering who the killers are. What was the motive? Why? Because you did it, honey.
Was that out of character for her to not be curious and not be asking some questions?
I bet it was.
Yeah, it was an unsolved murder of, my former brother-in-law, like someone that we all know very well. If it was like some neighborhood gossip, people would be interested. This was like national interest, and nobody had any curiosity about, who did this to Danny.
Is a person, you mentioned that, not only is it your brother-in-law, but it was like national news at that point as well.
Yes.
And regardless of it being national news or not, is a person dying from gun violence an extremely unusual thing to happen in your family?
Yeah, to this day, Danny's the only person that I know who's died from gun violence or been a victim of gun violence, so it's unique in that manner.
What would your mom, Donna Adelson, do if you did try to ask her any more about Danny's murder after that?
It wasn't a subject for discussion. It would be rerouted, or it was just not a subject to discuss.
When you say rerouted, do you mean like changing the subject?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fast forward to 2016. Do you remember in May of 2016 when Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera were arrested?
Yeah, I do. I actually saw it in the OR lounge. Someone told me about it. So it had to be like a Wednesday, and
you were in the operating room lounge.
It was
and someone
the lounge.
told you about it.
Yes, it was someone else, because stories like this people see on Twitter or such, and I remember someone telling me like, hey, did you hear about that case? Because it's more than one person had followed it, and I saw it, and then. That was on the 26th, and I remember the dates because our anniversary is on the 28th of May. My wife and I were like, should we call them? Like they arrested some guy who killed Danny. And
when you say them, you mean like should we call
parents.
my parents? And
yes.
Yeah, okay. So it was big news that even people you work with were seeing that there were finally some arrests made.
Right.
Okay. And that was 2 days before your anniversary, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so did you and your wife eventually talk to your parents?
We did. Like we thought, like, should we call them? And we figured, they if they wanted to call us, they would call us, and then they didn't. And so we figured, well, they'll call us on our anniversary, and so we can just sit tight. And I'm sure it's pretty stressful. And this guy was arrested in Miami, and so they called us on our anniversary, which was the 28th.
Okay, so that was 2 days after the arrest, I think.
2 days after I found out. Yes.
2 days after you found out. Thank you. So on the 28th, did you talk to Donna Adelson?
Yes.
All right. And when she called you, was she telling you the good news that Danny's killers were arrested?
No, just called us for anniversary, and wished us well, and had some small talk for a bit.
And where's Harvey throughout all of this? And Wendy? You really think that Donna and Harvey were not talking about this at all? Really? Really? You want to tell me that Harvey was just like, I'm just going to be in the armchair if you need me, darling, to Donna? Oh, please. He knew something. What he knew is a question, but the fact that he knew is all but guaranteed.
I kind of let it go for a little bit. I mean, this was not small news, and so I finally broached the topic and said, they found the guy, they arrested someone who killed Danny. There's no response, and I said it, at least 2 or 3 times that they made an arrest. They got the guy who killed Danny. And then her response was, I've got to go.
And don't forget, Wendy does not have immunity from prosecution. The only thing she was given immunity for was immunity from having the statements that she made in Donna's trial being used against her. Everything else is fair game. They can't be like, well, at your mother's trial, do you remember saying? They can't use that. She has immunity from that. They gave it to her because they wanted to take down her mother. That does not mean they're not going to come after Wendy next.
And then did she hang up the phone after that?
Yes.
And did you ever talk to her about it again, ever after that?
No.
Wow.
Just a second.
Wow. That was the last time they spoke. He just axed his mother out of his life.
Other than, her reaching out for happy birthdays,
Can you blame him, by the way? I can't.
Anniversaries, that kind of thing. Was that the last conversation you had with her?
That was the last time I spoke to her.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
And by the way, cross-examination is going to be like 2 minutes, which let's see how it cuts, because sometimes, you know me, I'm all about efficiency. I'm all about get in, get out, ask the right questions, and sit down. Let's see if the defense can do it.
Say it again, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Between 2012 and 2014, how many times did you come to visit your family in South Florida?
2012 and 2014. My daughter was born in October of 2012, and so I think my dad's birthday there was a Thanksgiving, I think, in 2013. So pretty much Thanksgivings were the times when we would travel, having a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So
Sure. Okay, so Thanksgiving of 2013, and then your dad's birthday in 2014.
yeah, there could have been one other one, but I remember those 2 for certain that I could swear to.
Okay, and when you came for his birthday was on the 5th. You came in on the 4th, the party was on the 5th, and you left on the 6th, correct?
That's my memory of it.
And Thanksgiving, kind of the same thing? I mean, you got a job you got to get back to, right?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. And how frequent were the phone calls that you were having with your family?
Probably less than once a week, maybe every other week, something like that.
And when I say family, I think I'm referring to Donna.
Sure.
Okay. Now, you were here on the 5th for your dad's birthday. You said you went home on the 6th.
Yep.
And Danny Markel was brutally murdered on July the 18th of 2014. That was in the summer.
Correct.
Recall that?
Yes.
And when did you arrive in Florida to be with your family?
I didn't.
Okay, thank you. You had mentioned in your direct testimony that your mom called and said you shouldn't talk to the police. You recall that?
Yeah, I do, yes.
What actually happened was a family friend, Michael Weinstein, you know him, correct?
I do, yeah.
Your mom indicated that he had called and advised that as a family friend and an attorney that you all should not talk to the police. That's what she told you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have anything further.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that was probably, out of all the cross-examinations that we have done of Donna Adelson's lawyers, that was probably the best one, only because it was short. I mean, I don't think she accomplished anything at all. She just confirmed once again, okay, so the frequency of the visits, the phone calls, I assume that's for closing, that Rob is kind of so outside the family, you don't have to listen to his testimony, he'll happily testify against his mother, blah, 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 I don't know. But she accomplished nothing, and that's because she's got nothing, because Rob is devastating to Donna's case. And you have to have something, and the fact that they have absolutely nothing shows the extraordinary weakness of their case. Now, of course, I am biased in this regard. Now, we know what the verdict is. We could see the writing on the wall. It doesn't take a genius. You know, I never for a second assumed that Donna could skate by and get off on this, get off of these charges. So I highly, highly, highly doubt that Rob's testimony was not like a dagger when the jury went back to deliberate. There was a dagger in Donna, and when your own, I'm telling you folks, when your own family, and I keep coming back to Harvey. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. I keep coming back to Harvey. Harvey is just, there's no way that this man has absolutely clean hands. His level of culpability is questionable. We don't know, does it go from, you know, just new knowledge? Is it participation? Did he have all the way up to intent? I mean, do you really want to go all the way down to negligence or wantonness? I don't know. I think it's somewhere in the middle, somewhere probably around knowledge at the very least, and failure to act. Knowledge and failure to act, I think we have Harvey Adelson dead to rights. Wendy, we may go as far as intent. Knowledge for certain, and possibly even intent, and failure to act in this conspiracy to commit murder of her ex-husband, Dan Markel, in July of 2014. So, folks, I am very excited to do the closing arguments. Again, I know the trial is over. I know we know the verdict. But let me tell you something. You have not heard my analysis. And you know me. I'm a trial lawyer. I have 50 jury trials under my belt as first chair, second chair. I love teaching you all. And that's what I'm going to do with the next videos. We're going to do about 4 of them. I'm going to break down the closings, both for the prosecution and the defense. We're going to start with the defense because they went first, and then the prosecution went last, so we're going to do that. There's going to be 4 videos, 2 each, because they're very long and I'm going to have to break them up. And I'm going to dissect. Even though the trial is over, we know the verdict. It's not over. The analysis is not over. If nothing else, to have it for future generations. But folks, I am very excited, because I've not seen them yet, and I'm going to be watching them raw. You're going to get my raw reaction to the closings, and I'm really, really looking forward to dissecting those for you all. As always, teaching you something new, hopefully, and giving you a lawyer's perspective, a trial lawyer's perspective, a criminal defense lawyer's perspective on both closings. So until then, I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.